Should Andy Kaufman be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame? This was the topic of discussion on Talk Is Jericho with Evan and Jason from the Dark Side of the Ring series. They got a new one, Tales from the Territories. This is produced by The Rock's production company, $7. So The Rock is directly involved with this project. Apparently he does some voiceover work from it. And he was also responsible for getting them specific interviews from guys that work for WWE and maybe even possible WWE footage stuff that Evan and Jason were not able to get for the Dark Side of the Ring series. So big help from The Rock, coming in clutch, right? But it was in this particular clip they were talking about the different territories. Essentially, the show is going to be, each episode's going to focus on a different territory and all the best, wildest stories from the territory. And I guess it's going to be in like a round table format. So, all the, talking heads that are still alive or, in good graces with people or whatever are going to be sitting around talking about the good old days, of their territory. And they're talking about the Memphis territory. And because the story of Andy Kaufman coming into Memphis to work with Jerry Lawler was such a big fucking thing, and they ended up talking about it so much that they ended up deciding to just take that and make it to its own separate episode. So they're still going to do a Memphis episode, but then they're going to do an Andy Kaufman episode. And so they were on the Talk Is Jericho podcast this week to promote the show and kind of talk about it, and that's where all this is coming from. And the discussion popped up as to whether or not Andy Kaufman deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. And I'm curious what you guys think, but check out this clip while you think about it.
It's unbelievable how deep into this Andy Kaufman was and went. And just the whole thing of just how real they kept it, like even the balls for Jerry to go on national TV on the Letterman show and slap Kaufman.
I find too what's so fascinating is often like outsiders that step into the wrestling world, like you often hear stories where they don't like respect it, and like you could tell Andy respected the business so much, and that just hearing the wrestlers now talk about it, it's like they talk about him like he's like one of the boys, and like they have so much respect for him. I find that so cool to see.
It's just to me, it just feels like probably the quintessential territory angle. And I'm also glad they said that Andy should be in the WWE Hall of Fame at the end of the show, and I totally agree. I think that just even though he never and like even though he never worked in WWE, it's just the fact that that just forecasted where sports entertainment would go, especially mixing in celebrity with wrestling and doing it so well.
Bro, Andy Kaufman has to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Jericho said it best that Kaufman and Cyndi Lauper are like the two glaring omissions from the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, right? Andy Kaufman was one of the most influential and important celebrity wrestlers in the entire history of professional wrestling. When he came in, think about this. Professional wrestling, this was a territory. This was in Memphis. This wasn't WWE, wasn't WCW, NWA, it wasn't AWA. This was the Memphis territory. And Jerry The King Lawler gets into it with a national actor by the name of Andy Kaufman. He was a comedian. He's on a sitcom. He does a lot of stand-up at the time. And he had a reputation for playing different characters and really like sticking to kayfabe, brother, basically, right? Like he would not break character on stage. And he also had a reputation for being kind of a heel, being a dick face. He would intentionally poke the bear, be irritating, be obnoxious, rub you the wrong way. It was part of his shtick, it was part of his charm, and it was all inspired by professional wrestling because he grew up a professional wrestling fan. Another one of those great celebrities that just got hit by the wrestling bug, right? We all do. All of us that are wrestling fans, any of you guys are watching my ugly ass face, you're sure as fuck a wrestling fan, right? So Andy Kaufman was a wrestling fan growing up. And then when he started doing the intergender wrestling shit, that was groundbreaking at the time. And he would humiliate these women and he would beat them and he would mock them and he would laugh in their face and he would tell them to go do dishes and shit, like cook dinner. Like it was so great. Everything he did, he had a championship belt made up, intergender wrestling champion. And then he ended up finding his way to Memphis because Lawler was always on the lookout for gimmicks, right? He always had, Memphis was a hotbed for like random shit. What kind of nonsense can we bring in to pop the territory this month, you know? And Jerry Lawler found out that Kaufman was a wrestling fan and brought him on in. And this angle was brilliant. Nobody knew it was real. They went on the fucking, I don't know if it was the Late Show, it was the Tonight Show, right? Not the Late Show. Letterman was the Tonight Show. They went on Letterman. And again, think about this, a territory. So we have a Hollywood actor, a famous, national famous celebrity in a territory where WWE was certainly going on at the time, in a fucking territory. Then they go on to the Letterman show on David fucking Letterman. And Jerry Lawler has the nerve to fucking slaps Andy Kaufman right in the face on live TV. It might have been taped, but on fucking TV. And Letterman wasn't clued in on it. Kayfabe, brother, all the way. It was fantastic. It was one of the greatest pieces of business in professional wrestling history. This whole angle with Lawler and Kaufman was one of the greatest angles in professional wrestling history. Not just Memphis history, but it was certainly the best angle in Memphis history. But it's the best angle in one of the best, not the best, but certainly one of the best angles in professional wrestling history. And it was fucking the brilliance of Andy Kaufman. And he sold it. I'm going to sue you, Lawler. I'm going to sue you for all you're worth. Oh my God. He became more obnoxious because he was assaulted. I was hit. I was attacked unprovoked. We take this shit for granted in wrestling nowadays, right? Somebody comes out and you're like, you're such a heel. But when Andy was doing it, people were like, fuck, this guy's going to sue Jerry Lawler. He's going to take down the whole company. You know what I mean? And then, then they have a match. Then whatever, they do ends up leading and it builds to them having a match. And Lawler pile drives fucking Kaufman and he's got the neck brace on forever. And apparently they said in this podcast that Andy Kaufman's parents were still mad, like when he died at the funeral. They at the funeral they were mad at Jerry the King Lawler for pile driving their son. He didn't even clue his parents in. Give this guy a fucking Hall of Fame induction, right? For sure. Bring this guy into the WWE family. Bring him into the fold. Yes, he's passed away, but he's got family. Give them that fucking, the payday to the family and keep Andy Kaufman's name iconic. Keep it in the Celebrity Hall of Fame. Give it its proper respects. Give it its attention. Give it another run, brother. And, he absolutely deserves it, especially when you got like a Drew Carey and stuff like that. They could do, like him and Cyndi Lauper, man, get those two in the Hall of Fame. But absolutely, Andy Kaufman, probably the greatest celebrity involvement in the history of pro wrestling.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. And you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh yeah. Dig it!